Hello. So if you've consumed any sort of media over the last 24 hours, or even just walked outside, you've probably heard about the drive-by shooting that happened at UC Santa Barbara yesterday, perpetrated by Elliot Rodger. There's a disturbing video that he made that has emerged with this, and he basically says that because he's still a virgin at 22, and girls have never been attracted to him, and then it's been torturous and a crime for them not to be, he's going to punish them for it by going to a sorority house and slaughtering them. This whole incident is obviously disturbing and very sad, but the reactions that people have had to this event are nothing short of disgusting. Apparently, Elliot's father is coughing this whole thing up to him having been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome as a child, and many others are using this fact and their own ignorance to misogyny to try and excuse his actions by saying that he was mentally ill. This is just what sexually frustrated 22-year-olds do. This is offensive in so many ways. Firstly, I can tell you that this has nothing to do with Asperger's. I have Asperger's. I don't go around shooting people who have rejected me as dating prospects or sexual partners. Can I be socially awkward? Yes. Have I had frustrating times where I haven't been able to find a date or someone to have sex with? Yes. But have I reacted to this by going on misogynistic rants or drive-by shootings? No. This shooting being linked to his supposed Asperger's syndrome is offensive and throws not only Aspies, but all people with mental health problems or illnesses under the bus. This has nothing to do with mental illness and everything to do with privileged entitlement. Second, this is rooted in sexism. Elliot thought that he was entitled to women's sexuality because he was a nice guy. Does this narrative sound at all familiar or ring any bells? This right here is the nice guy syndrome that feminists have been talking about. This is supposedly a decent human being, although his recent actions have proven otherwise, who thinks that because they're a decent human being, they are entitled to sex. And if they don't get sex, it's inevitably the fault of women. Our needs or wants or desires, what are those? It was exactly because he was a nice guy who didn't get the sex that he was entitled to that he decided to conduct this drive-by shooting. This is why the entitlement that people with privilege have, namely white guys, is in fact dangerous and perpetuates violence. This is why a culture that tells men that women owe them their bodies simply for being decent fucking human beings is deadly. Thirdly, people refuse to acknowledge the fact that this shooting is rooted in misogyny. Instead, they're running around in circles talking about how he was mentally ill and just someone who made a mistake. He didn't really know what he was doing. He was just mentally disturbed. If only he didn't have to face the agony of rejection. Poor Elliot. What a tough life it must be to be a rich white guy. No, this is about sexism. This is about the sexual entitlement that drove him to do this. Even if he is mentally ill, that does not excuse his actions nor his attitudes. Fourthly, do you think for 1 second that if Elliot was a person of color, that he would be getting the same type of sympathy that he is now? Do you think people would be giving him a pass as being mentally ill and using that as a way to excuse his actions? Of course not. He'd be called a terrorist or a thug, depending on what racial minority group he belonged to. Racism is a thing. So here are the 3 main things I want you to take away from this video. 1. Elliot Rodger is a misogynist who had such an extreme entitlement complex that he conducted a drive-by shooting to get revenge on women for not fucking him. 2. There is no excuse for this. His status as an Aspie or any other mental health problems that people want to dream up that he has do not justify this or his sexism and are in fact problematic responses to this incident. And 3. That this is part of a larger system that perpetuates structural violence against women. I'll see you next time.